Support for LPB's 2021 Louisiana Young Heroes is provided by
At AmeriHealthCaritas, Louisiana, we help people get care, stay well, and build healthy communities. Care is the heart of our work at AmeriHealthCaritas, Louisiana.
and by the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, Community Coffee, and the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, with additional support from Hotel Indigo and Dimco.
Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.
People deserve better than government's delivering today.
The government red tape, that's a big reason homes keep flooding.
A lot of damage, a lot of heartache.
Southwest Louisiana trying to catch up in the race to vaccinate.
We feel like if we could do this all over the building, it would be much better preserved.
Preserving the old state capitol for the long haul.
I know the big things that I'm doing now. I know he'll be proud of me.
A young hero uses food to give back.
Hi everybody, I'm Kathryn here.
And I'm Moreau. Plenty to get to tonight on SWI. But first, family, friends, and supporters of Ronald Greene, who died after his arrest in police custody 2 years ago, marched from the state capitol to the governor's mansion. This was on Thursday. They marched for justice, demanding that state troopers who manhandled Greene in the moments before his death would be held accountable. Now, none of that will happen quickly. Greene's mom disgusted after a meeting with Governor John Bel Edwards.
It's awful that you can think this is justified to do that and send families home empty-handed with no answers. I don't understand the justification of that.
Again, that's the mother of Ronald Greene. We know the statewide mask mandate has been lifted with a few exceptions, but now the governor says public schools can also go mask-free.
Now that change is at the school district's discretion. The governor's updated proclamation goes into effect at the end of the semester, but summer school and classes starting in the fall will be allowed to go maskless.
Many restrictions are gone, but there's a warning from Department of Health about another variant. It's the strain that has ravaged India, and it's now been confirmed in Louisiana. We have 3 cases now in Shreveport and Greater Alexandria. Dr. Joseph Cantor says your best line of defense is the vaccine.
The less people that are vaccinated, the more the virus spreads and the more it has an opportunity to perhaps form a new variant. So really the best way to prevent future variants is for more people to get vaccinated right now.
And now to other news making headlines across the state. The push to require vaccines for LSU students continues, and campus executives are exploring whether that can legally happen. As of this week, 77% of LSU employees are already vaccinated, but faculty members want the university to require it across the board as soon as the FDA gives full approval. After a year of no parades and millions of dollars lost, plans in New Orleans are underway for Carnival to make a big return next year. Some parade floats will also likely see big changes in terms of safety. 2 people died in 2020 when caught between tandem floats. Look for security and crowd control measures to be refined. Drownings for babies and children was up 60% in Louisiana in 2020 compared to 2019. 24 children under the age of 15 drowned last year after 5 consecutive years of decreasing totals. The State Health Department continues to stress water safety and drowning prevention efforts, especially as families return to pools, lakes, and beaches. This young gator on sandy South Padre Island in South Texas gave visitors to the beach a Jaws-like scare. Park rangers found it, and tags on its rear feet determined it had come from Louisiana. How it got to South Texas remains a mystery. Gators can tolerate salt water for a few hours or even a few days, but this one may have far exceeded those limits. The U.S. Ag Department has now designated Rapides Parish as a natural disaster area because of the winter storm in February. Producers there can apply for emergency loans through the Farm Service Administration. Rapides and 7 surrounding parishes are eligible.
Another week of session is coming to a close, and old topics like new roads and bridges, as well as decriminalizing marijuana, were back at the forefront. Tonight, I'll give you highlights of a few things you may have missed this week.
A bill that would keep people who aren't vaccinated from entering the state or public buildings and college campuses stalled in the House committee on Wednesday. The Senate had originally backed the proposal, but it didn't gain the same support in the Governmental Affairs Committee, though the vote was close. The bill's author, Senator Stuart Caffey, says he just wanted to protect people's rights to make medical decisions on their own terms. More spending plans are in the works for the state's infrastructure. Lawmakers are eyeing $1.5 billion in federal coronavirus aid. They want this money to go toward road work, water systems, and hurricane recovery, among other things. So far, the plan has advanced through the Senate. About 30% of the money would go toward bridge work and widening parts of the interstate. Early voting is almost expanded in the state of Louisiana. People casting a ballot for the presidential elections would have an additional 4 days to early vote if this bill were to pass. On Wednesday, senators gave final passage to the bill with a unanimous vote from both parties. Next, it goes to Governor John Bel Edwards' desk for a signature. If he does sign it, this bill would differentiate Louisiana from other red states that are looking to limit the amount of time people have to early vote. The governor is expected to sign.
Also this week, sports betting entered the conversation again. It's possible people in Louisiana could see that happen by the fall. A bill that regulates wagering eased its way toward final passage. If it were to pass, people would be able to bet through sports booking sites, kiosk locations, and mobilely. Before it can become a law, it has to go to the floor for debate. And if it passes there, it's up to the governor to sign.
We've got more money than was needed for all the projects effectively that were in the queue that had been identified.
Congressman Garret Graves there. The State Watershed Initiative is awarding money for flood control projects in EBR and also on the North Shore, but those are projects that will take years to complete, and that doesn't sit well with Graves, who hustled to get money in the bank but says there hasn't been the urgency needed to get things fast-tracked.
If you look at some of the rain loads, I mean, they had some of the preliminary numbers anyway suggest we had as much as 4 inches of rain in like an hour, and totals ranging from 12 to 18 inches. I mean, this amount of water in the time period that you're talking about, I mean, it's so challenging trying to do something with it and keeping it out of our houses, and it's just an incredible challenge, but it's so frustrating seeing that this isn't the first time this has happened in the past 5 years, and that really challenges our resiliency here.
It's the fear, it's the anxiety, and the confusion and frustration of, okay, what if it's going to happen again?
And that's one of the most frustrating things is, what can you do? Well, look, can you keep everything dry 100% of the time when you have rains like 4 inches in an hour? Well, that's hard, but can you absolutely keep the majority of things dry? Yes, and what you need to do is you've got to make investments, and it is investments in things as little as making sure that our streets don't have leaves and branches that are clogging the gutters and ultimately into the ditches. It is things as little as not throwing your trash out of the window when you're driving or let it flying out of the car, because that ultimately all piles up in your drainage canals, and you think, oh, look, it's just one cup, one plate. You start going to some of these areas where it all collects, it is holding back water, and that contributes to flooding. Then, of course, you have things like we've got to maintain our ditches, our canals, our waterways, and then we've also got to remember that to some degree our community is prepared or designed for the 1970s, and we really need to be thinking about the 2030s and 2040s, which is why we've been able to secure billions of dollars with a B for new flood protection investments here.
What has been built since 2016?
There's been some things done. There have been about 400 miles of rivers, bayous, canals, and ditches that have been cleaned out, primarily in Livingston Parish, and that was a separate program, separate set of funds we secured for them. But I'll tell you, one thing you got to do is kind of compare, what about other instances when something like this happened? How about Hurricane Katrina? 5 years after Hurricane Katrina, you saw massive land moving operations, you saw these huge structures being built, and we haven't seen that here. Now, do we have a lot of money in the bank? Yes, we've got a lot of money in the bank, but we haven't seen that same urgency here. And I think it partially points to really getting the state and federal government and others to understand how important and how urgent this is. This isn't a routine project, understanding the threat or risk that's there, and forcing them to execute on these projects that are out there, which means that you've got to change the regular project process. This isn't some elective project that's a luxury. This is really fundamental.
Is it because there's not a named storm attached to this that has something to do with this?
I think you hit the nail on the head. And if you go back to 2016, I went to Washington and I grabbed every podium I could in front of other members of Congress and committees and otherwise, and was telling them all about this. I was showing them pictures, and all of them, just like, I haven't heard anything about this. Katrina, as you know, it got front page news. It was on all the national and international networks. And you know what ended up happening after Katrina? Is that they designed an entirely new project process. They said, look, these are urgent, we're going to move them this way, which allowed them to move much faster. But if you've got projects like this that are really life and limb, as you know, we've had deaths from this. This is unacceptable. You can't use the routine process. You've got to have one that reflects the urgency. So we've got legislation on that. We're also trying to work with the White House on delivering these projects faster.
Region 5 in Louisiana is the region with the least number of vaccinated people in the state. In addition to hesitancy, medical and public officials say that catastrophic weather events may have shuttered interest in getting the vaccine. Tonight, experts talk recovery and vaccine rollout for Lake Charles and much of Region 5.
Deidre Rushing wasn't afraid to get the vaccine. In fact, it was something she'd been waiting for.
It's important for everyone.
But she was hesitant for one of two reasons. First, she wasn't sure where to get it, and reason number two was all of this.
A lot of damage, a lot of heartache for a lot of people, not just me. It's rough for everyone around here.
Rushing's family house is located in Region 5. It's in southwest Louisiana, which is home to some of the state's most rural parishes. It's also a place picking up the pieces of 4 major weather events that devastated the population in less than a year, starting with Hurricane Laura. It hit southwest Louisiana at a Category 4, destroying almost everything in its path, including Rushing's home in Lake Charles.
I need a roof, and due to the fact that I've had that damage, I've had water come into the house, so now I need water that's come in and damaged those ceilings in 3 rooms now.
But the damage didn't stop there. Hurricane Delta hit the same place in October. Then in February, an ice storm hit much of the south, freezing Region 5 along with it. And lastly, on May 17th, a 1,000-year rain event flooded Lake Charles again. The mayor, Nick Hunter, says the people are trying their best to recover.
This community received several punches in the gut over the last 14 months.
The destruction is sad, heartbreaking even, for people that lost their homes once, twice, or maybe even 3 times. But Dr. Lacey Kavanaugh with the Office of Public Health says the weather also devastated the vaccination effort before it even started.
People are just very tired here and have neglected their health in general because of all of these disasters. Of course, COVID vaccine is included in that, but even our mental health numbers, our folks who are following up and getting annual wellness visits, all of those numbers have likely been impacted.
Region 5, where Lake Charles is located, is underperforming when it comes to getting people vaccinated. Only about 21% of the population is fully protected against the virus, which is the lowest percentage statewide. There are several factors beyond the catastrophic weather events that are keeping those numbers down.
I know that a lot of people are scared of it.
Rushing is right. A lot of people are scared to get the vaccine, especially in Louisiana's rural communities. In Lake Charles, Lacey Kavanaugh says her staff debunks myths at almost every vaccination event.
Women who want to know if there's any proven effects on fertility, and there are no studies that say that it impacts fertility. So, I mean, that's sort of one of those myths that we hear commonly. Of course, people want to know about safety and effectiveness. A lot of questions about the process. So if I come here to get my first vaccine, then where do I go to get my second vaccine? So they want those instructions.
In early April, the Louisiana Public Health Institute put out a survey showing that about 70% of people who were hesitant were afraid of the vaccine's side effects and whether it's safe. The third most popular concern was whether the vaccine even works.
We have hesitancy here the same as there is across the entire state and really across the country. They're waiting to see how their friends and family who receive the vaccine, how they do.
Jackie White with the Louisiana Department of Health says that meeting people where they are is the state's best strategy to change those numbers.
I think it's just making it more personable, and it's just putting faces to a flyer or to just an advertisement. It's true people that are getting out there, and they're also able to answer questions.
Going to church events and small neighborhood organizations seem to be showing improvement here, but going door to door and talking face to face is what really helps.
You have things falling out of it.
That approach helped Deidre Rushing. She got her vaccine by chance when she heard a nurse yell that the vaccine was available in a Walmart she was shopping at.
I've got my vaccination. I've tried to make sure anyone I know, I talk to them about it. It's something that we need. You know, I got laid off, then there was a pandemic, then we had 2 storms, then we had an ice storm, then we had this flood. You know, but you still need to get out there and get your vaccination.
The mayor of Lake Charles says the city is in dire need of funding. He insists that bringing in federal assistance would help the city recover and possibly get back on track for vaccinations.
If you've been in Baton Rouge lately and driven past the old state capitol, you've seen scaffolding on one side of the building. Exterior restorations have begun again, but this first work is a small portion of a total project. It's a project that will cost more than $6 million. Director Mary DeRusso gave me a tour and explained exactly what is being done. So there have been some mysteries happening here as the work has been done?
That's correct. The building is in remarkable shape, but the bricks are from 1850 and the plaster over them has been replaced several times. And the work being done right now is we're having great discoveries about what has gone wrong in the past and how to correct it. And we have much better products now. So the hope is that when we finish this, the building will still need to be cleaned and painted, but the plaster won't have to be replaced again. So in here, we have a great model of what the Capitol looked like in the beginning, in 1850 when it opened. Wedding cake white, 3 stories, but it's the same construction that we have today. So it's the original brick covered with plaster. Then on the other side of the model, you see the building as it was in the 1880s. This is when they moved back to here, back to Baton Rouge, and they add the 4th floor and the lantern on the very top, and that's what allows us to have the beautiful stained glass dome.
Ah, I see, okay. And of course they went with this color, and the turrets are there, which they're no longer there.
They're no longer there. The towers and the turrets were actually causing structural damage to the building, so those were removed in the early 1900s. We get lots of questions about what happened to them, and we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's interesting too, the construction and what's in the walls.
Yeah, what's in the walls, and we have a really good example of that. Because it's hard to believe that the outside of the building is not marble. It's a little bit of trickery, if you will. And so this is what our walls are really constructed of. So there's wood lath and plaster keys and brick, and then several layers of plaster. And so that's really what the construction of the walls are. And it's scored to look like marble.
Okay. And so when some of the work is done outside, you're seeing the exposed brick that is there beneath the plaster.
That's correct. You're seeing those bricks from 1850, and interestingly enough, James Dakin, who was the architect who designed this building, he got into a huge fight with the construction people because he thought the bricks that they were bringing him were substandard, and he would throw them off, literally pull them off and throw them away. The project we're doing right now really addresses just one small piece of the building, and it's the North Boulevard entrance, which for all practical intents and purposes is our front door. And the Division of Administration is funding that repair. It's $560,000, and like I say, this is sort of a pilot project. It's to really test the materials and everything that we're using, because there's so much better products available now than we had in the past. And we feel like if we could do this all over the building, it would be much better preserved and much more cost effective, because in the future you'd be able to clean it. You wouldn't necessarily have to remove the plaster. Sadly, the ticket to do that is $6.6 million. Technology just changes over time, and these are the ferrous metal, the stainless steel that's around all the windows. The north side of the building never sees sunlight for much of the year, so rust is set in there, and if you don't arrest that, it will just continue to deteriorate the metal. So the construction crew has done a terrific job of using ground glass to blast the rust off and get down to the very bare metal and to reseal and repaint. And so we feel like there's some permanent solutions that we're uncovering right now.
These are things that people driving by from the street wouldn't necessarily or even remotely see.
You look at them and you honestly think that it's wood, because it's just the decorative pieces that are outside the actual wood windows. And so it's the quatrefoils that you see at the top of the House and Senate chambers, the tracery windows that look much like you'd see in a cathedral. Right. All of that is cast iron. There's so much cast iron in this building, it's hard to believe.
This is one of the places that people, when they come to town, they really want to see it. We
just shot a spot this morning for a tourism promotion in Canada. We see tons of foreign tourists here every year, pre-COVID. We usually see about 50,000 people a year from all over the country and all over the world.
They're coming back.
And they come here because this building is so different. And one of the reasons that it is different is the architect, James Dakin, thought Louisiana was a different kind of state, and we are. We are French and Spanish and Native American and Isleno and Italian and German and all the gumbo that is Louisiana. And so many of the state capitals mirror the national capital, the dome and two wings. And he said, you know, Louisiana is a different kind of state and we need to have a different capital.
To get more information and also to donate, you can go to the website for the Old State Capitol, louisianaoldstatecapital.org.
Kathryn Lexie Davis is a high school chef with a taste for community service. During the pandemic, she served food to the less fortunate and organized a service that made PPE available to the elderly. Now at the end of her high school career, she celebrates her accomplishments as an LPB Louisiana Young Hero.
Before anyone begins a hobby, it has to start with a spark. That spark could come from anything, a TV show or even a song. But for Lexie Davis, it was simple. That spark was her dad's love of food.
My dad was like my best friend. We would cook together, and no matter how bad I messed up, he always seemed to push me through it.
Pushing her through it is an understatement. Lexie's dad, George, inspired her.
He's always been just my biggest supporter.
He had a passion for food that was only rivaled by the love of his community, and he showed it in every catering event and volunteer mission. Giving back through food is one of the last things he and Lexie did together.
His last catering event, which was in December, was a Saturday. It was a Friday or the Saturday after Christmas. And he asked if Kathryn could come and assist him in that event.
By 2020, those days of catering together would be a memory. George died on January 5th from diabetes-related complications.
It was hard. It was really hard that past week. Every day he just went downhill, and just being able to be there with watching him pass away, it was really hard.
Losing her dad left behind an ache, not just for him, but for the work they did together. And it started Davis on a mission to serve the community the best way she knew how. So she started cooking, but this time for people that were less fortunate. She started her own community meals program, Food for the Souls. And she even learned how to cook specifically for diabetics, like her late father and her Aunt Margaret. As a senior in high school, her actions made her a role model for kids in her culinary classes.
One of my favorite photos of her is, you remember when we made the, well, you don't, when we made the 6-onion soup, and I have this just precious photo of Kathryn holding her soup, kind of masked up, and she has, I guess it was around Thanksgiving, and she has a shirt on that says, "I'm thankful for my family." And I love that. I think that's a picture of Kathryn that I'll have in my heart, in my mind forever. But Kathryn's trademark is not a dish. It's just her spirit. It's her, her ability to unify people.
Even during the pandemic, Lexie was trying to give back in her own way. She made her blessing bags with wipes, hand sanitizer, and even other cleaning products for the elderly. Her mother says her heart is swollen from her daughter's service to the community.
She's a really humble child who's always looking to nurture something or somebody. And she's always looking to learn new things.
And what's next for this high school senior? First up is college at Nicholls State. Her major is easy to guess. It's the culinary arts. And after that, her own catering business to continue her father's legacy.
I know right now, well, I know the big things that I'm doing now. I know he'll be proud of me.
For the next 6 weeks, we'll profile each of this year's LPB Louisiana Young Heroes.
Looking forward to it. And everyone, that is our show for this week. Remember, you can watch anything LPB anytime, wherever you are, with our LPB app.
You can catch LPB news and public affairs shows, as well as other Louisiana programs you've come to enjoy over the years. And please like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
For everyone at Louisiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Andre Moreau.
And I'm Kara St. Cyr.
Until next time, that's the state we're in.
Support for LPB's 2021 Louisiana Young Heroes is provided by
At AmeriHealthcaritas Louisiana, we help people get care, stay well, and build healthy communities. Care is the heart of our work at AmeriHealthcaritas Louisiana.
and by the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, Community Coffee, and the East Baton Rouge Parish Library, with additional support from Hotel Indigo and Dimco.
Entergy is proud to support programming on LPB and greener practices that preserve Louisiana.
The goal of our environmental and sustainability initiatives really is to ensure that our kids and future generations can be left with a cleaner planet.
Additional support provided by the Fred B. and Ruth B. Ziegler Foundation and the Ziegler Art Museum located in Jennings City Hall. The museum focuses on emerging Louisiana artists and is an historical and cultural center for Southwest Louisiana. And the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, with support from viewers like you.